Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Little Marketing Podcast, where we provide you, Australian small business owners, with smart and tangible marketing advice for your small business. So in today's episode, on the back of some shorts we did last week, I'm going to take you through a 7-step roadmap to make your small business more valuable. I'm going to go into the detail of what those 7 steps look like. Now, if we think about it from a small business owner perspective, you're busy in your day-to-day. And if I think about a lot of the small business owners that we deal with, or have started to deal with, or just ones that I speak to, their profit and loss statement doesn't form a big part of their day-to-day actions. And because of that, because it's not front of mind and top of mind, their profitability and the value of their business doesn't play a big role in their decision making, which is crazy when you think about the main reason that people started their business in the first place is to create profits and revenue and give themselves and their business and their personal life a whole lot of choices. Now, why do you want to make your business more valuable? Well, it's for those reasons. Chances are, if your business is valuable, then it's making some decent profits, and making profits allows you as a business owner to make more choices, whether you want to reinvest that money back into your business, or whether you want to invest that money personally or spend it with your family, or whatever it might be. At the end of the day, it's about giving you choices, and only profits and making your business more valuable can give you choices. So I'm going to take you through the 7-step roadmap to try and get your business more valuable. So at the heart of this equation and this formula and this roadmap is profitability. So we've created an equation or a formula to make your business more valuable. So we're going to go through what that formula is, which again is part of the 7 steps. And if we think about profits, I think a lot of small businesses struggle with things like pricing, brand positioning, and a lot of these are all related. At the end of the day, you want to make sure your margins and your profit margins are big, and businesses don't spend time looking at that. So we're going to dig a bit deeper, and it forms part of the roadmap to make your business more valuable. So let's get into the first step. So really the first step is about positioning. Now, if you've listened to any of our other podcasts or videos or read our book or whatever it might be, you would know that positioning is at the heart of making sure that you are standing out from the competition. So what does positioning mean for those that don't understand? So positioning is all about positioning your business and your brand in the minds of your customers and clients that is different to the competition, that eliminates the competition and allows you to stand out. So where does this fit into the equation of making your small business more valuable? Well, if you are positioned differently to the competition, or you eliminate the competition and you create that position in the mind that is different to the competition, then chances are people will see you and perceive you differently and start to see you as a bit of an expert in what you do. As consumers and clients, we generally want to deal with experts in their field, whether it's product focused or whether it's service focused. We tend to gravitate to experts in what they do because we only want to deal with the best, and we want to get the best result or the best product for what it is that we're actually looking for. If you are positioned like everyone else in the marketplace and there's no different, then you become commoditized and people just see you like everybody else. So why would they want to come and see you? And then why would they want to maybe pay more from you when you're just like everybody else? So positioning is that first step in the roadmap to make sure that your small business becomes more valuable, which leads us into step 2. So the second step is focus. Focus is about making sure that you narrow your focus in what it is that you do and what you offer. So it's that next step to positioning and really being focused and consistent on what it is that you do and why you're different. And by narrowing the focus, really make sure that we position you as an expert and a specialist and a leader in your field. By having a focus in what you do, who you do it for, where you do it, and how you help people, you start to become known for something specific. You really focus in on a particular audience and ultimately drive demand for what it is that you are providing to your customers and clients, because you have a true focus, and because on the back of the positioning, you position yourself in the minds of your customers that is different to the competition, and you've really focused in and are being consistent in that. So positioning, that's the first step, plus focus, plus the third step in the roadmap is becoming an expert. So because you have positioning and because you have a focus, you now are positioning yourself as an expert in what you do. So if we think of someone that's an expert, let's look at doctors. So when you go to a general practitioner, they will often then recommend you, depending on what you have, they will then recommend you to a specialist. And we know when we get referred to a specialist, we're generally paying 3 or 4 times more than what we've paid for the general practitioner. Why is that? Because the general practitioner doesn't have a focus and isn't positioned as an expert, but a specialist is positioned as an expert, and because of that, we then pay more and they're able to charge more. And given they're a specialist, they're clearly an expert in what they do, and as consumers and clients, as we mentioned, we want to go and see an expert, especially when it comes to our health, and we're willing to pay anything for that. So with that expertise comes trust. We know that they have a deep understanding of what they do, so we put our lives in their hands. Now, I know that's a bit dramatic. I'm talking specifically about medicine, but regardless of the industry, if there's trust around a product or a brand or an offering out there, then you're more than willing to pay a little bit more. And so a specialist can command higher prices and they can feel more confident to charge more as well. The stronger your expertise, the more confident you are in how you charge, the more that you can charge and justify your value to customers and clients. Now, when I say all this, I'm talking about a true expert and a specialist. I'm not talking about a business that has no runs on the board and is just making it all up. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about business with values and morals, and it's making sure that you stay true to these as well. Because if you have no morals or values, you won't last long in business, and you definitely won't be seen as an expert or a specialist, and you will get found out and be known as a fraudster. And you don't want that in your business. So by positioning your business and your brand and you focus in on that, you're able to then become an expert in what you do, which then allows you, if we move on to step 4, it allows you to then charge properly. So now we're going to start to really see the correlation between positioning and how you make your small business more valuable. So by charging properly means that you're probably charging potentially a little bit more than your competitors or people that are similar to what you offer. And it's because you are positioned in the minds of your customers that are different to the competition. You have a focus in that and you're now an expert in what you do. So it gives you also the internal confidence to be able to charge properly. So by charging properly, it means that you're charging based on the value of the problem or the product that you're providing. You're charging on the transformation that you're giving people, the feeling that you're giving people, the emotion that you're giving people, and the experience and the knowledge and the expertise that you are bringing to the table, regardless of your product or service offering. And because you are an expert in your field, generally you're able to charge properly because you probably feel a bit more confident in yourself to be able to do that. You've got the runs on the board, you position yourself as an expert. So then by charging properly, the goal is that the difference between what you charge and the cost of goods or providing that service starts to become a little bit bigger. And the other bonus here is that you start to attract a better type of customer and clientele. You're probably able to work a little bit less because you're charging more for the value that you're providing rather than the time that you're spending on it, and that you're able to build a sustainable revenue stream. So we've just spoken about charging properly. So if you're struggling with charging properly, go and look at the first 3 steps of the formula. So positioning plus focus plus expertise. Have a look at those, overcome those 3 steps and those 3 hurdles first. And I've no doubt that once you overcome those 3, then charging properly will become a little bit easier for you. Which now leads us on to step 5. So it's about having a big difference between expenses and revenue. Now that seems super obvious, like no shit, we want to have revenue and expenses. We want to make sure that gap is bigger and bigger. So that gap there is called profit margin. So we want to make sure that that gap is as big as possible. So with expenses, you can only limit your expenses so much, whether it's cost of goods or staff levels or rent or whatever it might be. You can only limit that so much, but the goal is that the revenue, the ceiling up here, that there's no ceiling, and you're able to push that as high as you can so you can get a bigger gap between revenue and expenses. There are way too many businesses that operate on razor thin margins. If I look at the Building industry, I hear sometimes they run off like 2 or 3% profit margins. That is so dangerous. That's why so many building companies go insolvent or are liquidated, because they have one bad project, one bad client that doesn't pay them, and everything goes under. And if they're just like everybody else and they haven't positioned themselves as an expert and had that focus, they haven't been able to charge properly, hence their margins are low, hence they then go under. We don't want to just survive, we want to thrive, so we need to make sure that we have that bigger gap. Quite simply, the bigger gap between what you earn and what you spend equates to the bigger profit that you have and the bigger profit margin that you have. Which leads us to step 6 in the roadmap, which is great profit margins. So again, profit margin is the difference between expenses and revenue. So if you have that big gap, you're able to reinvest into the business to drive business growth, whether it's staff or research and development, whatever it might be, a bigger office space, more equipment, those types of things. It gives you some more financial stability and allows you to make decisions more on your business, unless that are money or survival orientated, because it's easy as a business owner to go into survival mode versus thriving mode, because your margins are so thin, you're constantly chasing money. And that's why we want to go through those steps of positioning, focus, expertise, charging properly, and create that bigger difference between revenue and expenses to get a greater profit margin. And now you can see, now that we're at step 6 in that roadmap to make your business more valuable, it's hard to have gotten to this point if you haven't gone through the other 5 steps. If there is no positioning, you're just helping every type of client, you're doing everything for them, and you have no positioning in the minds of your customers, and you're not eliminating the competition, and you're doing everything that the competition does. And then the next step, you have no focus. It's all very inconsistent. You're speaking to everybody about every service that you do, so people don't really know what it is that you do and how you help them. That equates to then you not having any expertise, and people not really coming to you or feeling confident to come to you, which means that when you do get an inquiry, you're not charging properly. You just want to get the job or get the customer or get the client, which means that because you're not charging properly, the gap between expenses and revenue is super slim and super tight, which then means that there is no value in your business. So you can see how all the steps are coming together for you. Whereas if you've done the opposite, you've got a strong positioning in the minds of your customers, you've got a real focus in on what you do, who you do it for, and where you do it. You become an expert and a specialist in what you do, which gives you the confidence to charge properly, which makes sure that you then have a bigger difference between revenue and expenses, which increases and gives you greater profit margin, which then makes us, the 7th step, super profitable. So when all these elements come together, it's about then being super profitable and your business thriving and giving your business and you personally lots of options in what you want to do. Like I said, reinvest in the business, go and invest personally, use it on your family, use it on yourself, but at least you have options in your business and personally. Super profitable businesses have consistent cash flow, can scale and grow, and are also highly attractive to investors and buyers. A lot of business owners may have an end goal to want to be able to sell their business. Now, generally speaking, if someone is wanting to buy you, then they want to make sure that you are super profitable. Yes, they want to be able to see that there's opportunity for growth, but they want to know at the moment that you are super profitable and they're buying something with limited fuss or investing in something where there's great cash flow and there's super profitability, which then obviously makes your small business more valuable. So you can see how the 7 steps from positioning to focus to expertise to charging properly to having a bigger difference between expenses and revenue, giving you greater profit margin, gives you super profitability, which makes then your small business more valuable. So without that first step of creating a strong positioning where the goal is to eliminate some of the competition, to position ourselves in the minds of our customers that is different to the competition, you can see the power of that first step, how it leads on to the following 6 steps, and where those 7 steps and that formula creates more value for your small business. So if you feel like you're struggling with profit margins, go back to the beginning, look at positioning, look at all of those steps, think about how you can increase your profit margins. Go have a meeting with your accountant. Look at those profit and loss statements. You should be looking at that every day, every week, every month to stay on top of it, reduce those expenses, start charging properly, increase that profit margin, and make your business more valuable. Guys, hope you got lots out of that episode today. As always, leave some comments, rating and review would be awesome across all of our platforms. Jump on there, subscribe, and we'll see you back on long form next week. As always, we do the shorts across all the platforms as well, so we'll see you back next week.
Please note that all the information provided on this podcast is general in nature and is not intended to be specific advice to your individual situation. Please be sure to engage a professional for a customized approach to your business and personal circumstances.